A small clinical study reported something unexpected. A simple kitchen ingredient appeared to outperform plain water in hair regrowth. But what people took from that study is not actually what the data shows. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether onion juice is truly worth trying, or just another misunderstood internet health trend. Because once you see what this study actually tested, you'll understand why internet conclusions are often misleading. That ingredient was onion juice. Can onion juice really regrow hair? According to thousands of videos online, the answer is yes. According to the scientific evidence, the answer is much more complicated. One of the most shared hair loss claims on the internet began with a single clinical trial published more than 20 years ago. Yet more than 2 decades later, it's still one of the most frequently cited pieces of research whenever onion juice and hair loss are mentioned online. That alone makes it worth examining carefully.
If the evidence supported onion juice for most types of hair loss, I would tell you that. If it didn't, I would tell you that too. My role is not to defend or reject any treatment. It's to evaluate what the total body of evidence actually supports. By the end of this video, my goal isn't for you to agree with me. It's for you to understand what the evidence actually allows us to conclude. The data shows a picture very different from social media headlines.
What the evidence actually demonstrates is a study published in the Journal of Dermatology and indexed in PubMed, making the original paper easy to verify and read. However, PubMed indexing does not equal clinical validation. It only confirms the study is published, not that it is conclusive. In clinical medicine, publication is only the starting point, not evidence of effectiveness. Researchers took a group of participants and divided them into 2 groups. Group 1 applied crude onion juice to their scalp twice a day, while Group 2 used ordinary tap water. By week 6, approximately 87% showed some degree of hair regrowth in the onion juice group, compared to only 13% in the water group.
The data shows that the comparison group used tap water rather than a placebo designed to mimic onion juice's odor or irritation, which introduces a potential bias known as expectancy effect, especially in small dermatology trials. This is why clinical guidelines do not change based on single small studies, no matter how promising the results appear. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Before I tell you what happened next, let's pause for a second. If you had only heard about that 87% result, would you try onion juice? Let's do a quick poll down below. Type yes, maybe, or no in the comments right now, and let's see how much our collective perspective shifts by the end of this video.
This study was not conducted on genetic pattern baldness or everyday hair thinning. It was specifically performed on patients diagnosed with alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is an autoimmune condition where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks healthy hair follicles, causing sudden, patchy, circular bald spots. This distinction matters because treatments that work in autoimmune hair loss often fail completely in genetic hair loss. Understanding this contrast is vital before drawing any conclusions. Science moves gradually. Social media often skips that process entirely, compressing complex research into a single headline, where one promising result becomes proven and an early study becomes accepted as absolute fact. That's exactly why we're looking at the evidence more carefully today. Let's look at the facts and compare the internet claims with the actual scientific evidence. The first claim you will see everywhere. It cures all forms of baldness. But what does the science actually say? The truth is, early trials were highly restricted, looking only at patients with alopecia areata. The second massive claim? It completely replaces verified medical therapies. But here is the clinical reality. The available data is only preliminary evidence, conducted without an odor-matched placebo, which makes the results highly unreliable. What this study does not prove: onion juice cures all hair loss. onion juice replaces medical treatment. Everyone will get the same result. If the evidence were truly strong enough to change practice, onion juice would already be part of standard dermatology care. Because in evidence-based medicine, promising results are not enough. Replication is everything. Now comes the part almost nobody on social media talks about, and it's the reason this study never became a medical recommendation. Surprisingly, despite how often this study is quoted online, we still don't have multiple large, high-quality randomized clinical trials confirming onion juice as a standard treatment for most forms of hair loss. In evidence-based medicine, a treatment does not become standard until it is replicated across multiple independent trials with consistent outcomes. That's one of the reasons current clinical guidelines do not recommend onion juice as a first-line treatment for common pattern hair loss. To make this clinically meaningful, let's translate it into real patient categories. 1. Autoimmune hair loss, Alopecia areata. The preliminary evidence suggests onion juice may provide a supportive topical option in selected patients, though it has not been established as standard care. Conclusion: potentially supportive under specialist guidance. 2. Genetic hair loss, Androgenetic Alopecia. This pattern is driven by the hormone DHT at the follicle level. Onion juice does not alter systemic hormones or block DHT. Conclusion: mechanically ineffective for common pattern baldness. 3. Stress-related shedding, Telogen Effluvium. This is triggered internally by severe physical stress, illness, or nutritional deficiencies. Onion juice cannot correct an internal biological trigger. Conclusion: no clinical impact on internal systemic shedding. Let's look at who might actually benefit from this, and who probably will not. First, if you have patchy alopecia areata, this might benefit you. But if you are dealing with male pattern baldness, it is probably not enough. Second, if you are using it under strict dermatologist supervision, you might benefit. However, if the issue is female pattern thinning, it is probably not enough. And finally, if you have already passed a patch test, you might benefit. But if your hair loss is caused by an iron deficiency or thyroid disease, this is definitely not enough. At this point, you might be thinking, if the evidence is this limited, why are millions of people still recommending onion juice? In dermatology, we don't ask, does it work for some people? We ask, does it work reliably across populations in controlled trials? Based on the available evidence, researchers have proposed specific biochemical properties within an onion that are hypothesized to be associated with the 2002 findings, though they haven't been conclusively proven to reverse all forms of hair loss.
First, sulfur compounds, hypothesized to contribute to the biological environment surrounding the hair follicle, although the exact mechanism remains uncertain. Second, antioxidant activity, quercetin. Onions are rich in quercetin, an anti-inflammatory antioxidant that helps neutralize localized oxidative stress. And third, localized irritant effect, may produce mild local irritation, which researchers have hypothesized could increase local blood flow, although these mechanisms remain unconfirmed in large clinical trials. The data shows where this research actually sits. In medicine, where a study sits on the evidence ladder matters almost as much as what the study found. Most dermatology treatments never work at the theoretical level alone. They must survive clinical replication.
The biggest risk with viral treatments is not the ingredient, it's the misinterpretation of partial results. If you still choose to explore this natural option, you must avoid the common errors that frequently bring patients to my clinic with damaged scalps. Error 1. Leaving it on overnight. Prolonged exposure may increase the risk of significant skin irritation or irritant contact dermatitis in susceptible individuals. Limit application to 15 to 20 minutes max, then rinse thoroughly. Error 2. Skipping the patch test. Always apply 2 drops to the inside of your elbow first to ensure your skin barrier can handle it. Error 3, abandoning verified medical treatments. Never stop an evidence-based therapy prescribed by your doctor to rely solely on a kitchen remedy. And error 4, misinterpreting improvement as cure. Some early regrowth does not mean reversal of underlying disease.
This leads to a fundamental question that honest science must always ask. Could future research change this recommendation? Absolutely. If several large, high-quality randomized clinical trials consistently showed meaningful benefit, our clinical interpretation would change. That's how evidence-based medicine works. So, what is my ultimate verdict? If you were my patient in clinic, my recommendation would be based on one principle: proven mechanism, not viral popularity. I would not recommend onion juice as a first-line treatment for common genetic hair loss. I would focus instead on treatments that target the underlying biology, because preserving follicles early gives you the best chance of success. This distinction matters because the correct diagnosis almost always matters more than the treatment itself. And that's why evidence, not internet popularity, should guide healthcare decisions. Let's look at our official evidence score for onion juice, which will serve as our standard evaluation matrix for every single treatment we cover on this channel. Let's look at our official evidence score for onion juice. First, the evidence base is highly limited, relying only on a single early clinical trial. Second, our clinical confidence is low. Third, when it comes to guideline support, it is currently not recommended. And finally, its applicability is restricted to alopecia areata only. So, what is the bottom line here? First, while there is some interesting early evidence, it has only been studied in alopecia areata. Second, it is completely unproven for common pattern baldness, and it should never be used as a first-line treatment. And most importantly, always remember, your diagnosis must come first. The scientific studies discussed in today's consultation are listed in the video description if you'd like to explore the original research for yourself. So, if someone asks me, does onion juice regrow hair? My answer would be, the evidence is promising for one specific condition, but it is not strong enough to recommend it as a general treatment for hair loss. And in medicine, that distinction is often the difference between evidence and illusion. If today's video changed the way you think about hair loss, then it has already done its job. Before you leave, check back on the comment you made earlier. Did your answer change after seeing where this study sits on the evidence ladder? And tell me in the comments, if we applied this same evidence-based approach to the next most controversial hair loss treatment, what should we investigate next? Which treatment do you think has the most misleading reputation online? This consultation is just the first step. The internet is full of hair loss advice, but how much of it actually stands up to scientific scrutiny? Over the coming weeks, we'll continue putting some of the world's most popular hair loss treatments under the microscope, examining the science, separating facts from myths, and helping you understand what the evidence actually says. And next, we'll examine a treatment that millions believe works, despite almost no clinical evidence supporting it. If you enjoy evidence-based medical breakdowns like this, where we review the research, explain the evidence, and encourage you to explore the original studies for yourself, consider subscribing. Every episode in this series will examine another popular hair loss treatment using this exact same scientific approach. We don't chase trends. We investigate them. In medicine, the most dangerous ideas are not the wrong ones. They are the partially true ones taken out of context. Good science doesn't promise certainty. It reduces uncertainty. And today, that's exactly what we tried to do. Stay curious, stay evidence-based, and take good care of your health. I'll see you in our next consultation.